Hey guys, it's been a while, but we are going to read Bridezilla/wedding dramas today. Our first story is titled, My 28 female cousin 32 female wants me to be a bridesmaid in her wedding to my ex-fiancé 36 male, and my family are pressuring me to accept. My ex-fiancé, Zach, got with my cousin, Ashley, 2 months after we broke up. This was 6 years ago. I suspected he had been cheating with her as they got together so quickly after, but I never had proof until 2 years later. Ashley's sister showed me the evidence after they had a fight. Her entire family knew, and it had been going on for at least 6 months before he broke up with me. I'm not very confrontational, so I only sent her a message to let her know I knew, and then blocked her and limited contact with both of them. I'm over it now, and have since met a much better guy. We got engaged last year, and a week later, Zach and Ashley got engaged. Now, they're planning their wedding for next summer. Ashley recently reached out to me through her mom to ask me to be a bridesmaid. When I declined, her mom started trying to guilt me into accepting. I eventually told her I would think about it, just to get her to leave me alone. They've since recruited the rest of my aunts/uncles/cousins to try to convince me to be her bridesmaid. I don't want to, but I feel like I have to accept. Do I just suck it up and accept? Now for the top comments of this post. You do not have to accept. Opie should tell her family that her presence at the wedding would do nothing but detract from the attention on the bride, as no one who knows the family and their history will be able to talk about anything other than the fact that the groom is Opie's ex, which will inevitably bring up the cheating. As in, Opie should make it clear that if they want her there, she will make sure everyone knows the history and that the groom is her ex, followed by a detailed account of the cheating. That should be enough to put them off the idea. No one wants that kind of attention on their wedding day, or have the attention relocated to someone else. No is a complete sentence in answer to an unreasonable request. Normally, I would add that you don't even have to explain yourself. In this case, I would recommend that you reach out to your cousin and tell her no. Then tell her that she has to tell her army of pesterers to back off completely, because otherwise, you will have no choice but to make your no very public with a detailed explanation of exactly why you are declining the invitation. I don't think I could use no as a complete sentence in this case. I think it would be something like, sure, I'll accept being a bridesmaid, and I would also like to include a PowerPoint presentations for the time he was screwing both of us at the same time. Oh, and I hope you all burn in hell. Sounds like a plan? Ugh. This has really fired me up on Opie's behalf. No. She only wants you as a bridesmaid to make herself feel better about the crappy way her relationship began. Tell everyone they're being rude. I really hope your wedding is small and doesn't include these people. Yeah, it sounds like she's trying to whitewash the situation so she can control the narrative around the cheating. Oh, hubby was with my cousin when we first met, but he and I just clicked, and things weren't serious with cousin, so she stepped aside. We're still on great terms. She was even a bridesmaid at our wedding. It's possible she's even trying to keep you at her side during the wedding, so you don't bring up the way the happy couple met to other guests. Being a bridesmaid involves work and obligations, which is fun to do for a friend, but would be infuriating for someone you dislike or who is trying to manipulate you. Do you want to help arrange her bridal shower, potentially pay for a dress and hair/makeup, and run around fixing last-minute ceremony things instead of chilling at home or catching up with other guests? The next one is titled, Am I the a-hole for telling my daughter to cancel her marriage? I have a daughter, 27, who was with her boyfriend for 7 years, and they got engaged not long ago. Just a small party, not many guests. She always talks to me about how she loved him, how he always listens to her, and he was made for her. I have agreed with her, since I found him to be a good-natured man. He was kind and humble, and was always respectful to our family. We've met his parents for dinner twice or thrice, and they hit me as a little sexist, asking questions to my wife like, I don't know why you're working. Isn't that the husband's job? It's the mother's job to be taking care of the children. Now that they wanted to make it more serious, and they planned a marriage. Anyways, we have been planning about the marriage, and one day, her boyfriend comes to me and says that his parents want to talk to me. I was going to call my daughter too, but he said that she wasn't allowed. I went with him and his parents started talking to me about dowry. I was confused and said that there was no dowry, and in 2020, who even gives dowry? But boyfriend and his parents started lecturing me about how necessary it was, and how my daughter would be a stay-at-home wife. My daughter has told me that she wants to continue her dreams, so I don't know what this is. Anyways, they told me that I should give it a thought and told me not to tell my daughter for the time being. However, I immediately told my daughter about it, and she started crying, saying she didn't know that her boyfriend was so sexist. She asked me what she could do now, and I told her that she wasn't being forced and could cancel her marriage if she didn't want it. Well, that is exactly what happened, and now her boyfriend and his parents are calling me saying I took away the love of his life, etc. On top of that, some of her friends, some were bridesmaids, said that I was an a-hole for breaking up what would have been a healthy marriage. But it's my daughter's happiness that matters. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. You saved your daughter from a life of hell. Sorry she had to go through that though. I'm sure it was a shock to realize her ex and her almost in-laws are misogynistic a-holes. Hope she's doing okay. 7 years is a long time. How did this not ever come up before? I myself don't know. I always felt that he was different from his parents. This story did not go how I predicted. Not the a-hole. I know. The first few lines had me thinking something different. OP, you did the right thing. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. This is the kind of parenting that the modern world needs. Supportive and caring, but not afraid to step in when needed. Hope you and your daughter are okay. She's still emotional about it. She has been crying nonstop. I don't know what I should do to cheer her up. Now for the third story. Am I the a-hole for not supporting my parents' wedding? My 14 female parents, 30 female and 31 male, had me when they were teenagers. There were a lot of sacrifices in their behalf, but we have a rather comfortable life nowadays and they are both good parents. They have been saving for quite a while and they finally want to have their dream wedding. My mom has been planning this wedding for years and she talked about it with me a lot, asking for my suggestions. I'd say I helped plan the wedding with how much we've talked about it and the amount of suggestions I made she incorporated. A few days ago, my parents told me they decided to have a no-kids wedding, so no one under 21 would come. I felt hurt at first, but they said they wanted to party like the wedding they had wanted to have before they turned 18, and I thought it was fair. Today, they told me that they plan to have my 4 cousins, 2, 5, 7, and 8 male, stay with me at our house for the whole day so my 3 aunts can come and I wouldn't be alone. I said I didn't want to be a babysitter after I was pretty much excluded from a wedding I helped plan, and it was my parents' wedding I was being excluded from. My mom called me an ungrateful witch and said it would be my way of contributing to the wedding, and it will be ruined if I don't accept it. My father talked to me later about it and said it was just a day. It's the least I could do to them after all they sacrificed for me in their youth. Am I the a-hole here? That's the main story. Now let's jump to the top comments. Your parents are still not ready to have children. Putting them back is probably not an option, though. When my mom complained about us, I suggested sending us back to the manufacturer. So, not the a-hole. Not only are you excluded from your own parents' wedding, they wanted you to do some free babysitting. They then said we sacrifice our youth for you. They made a choice to have a baby in their teens, and you shouldn't ever be brought into that. Yeah, if dad tries to use the all the sacrifices we made to have you BS again, OP should shoot back with, then maybe you shouldn't have had a kid so young. You made a choice to have me. Meanwhile, you're giving me no choice here. Not the a-hole. Who wouldn't have their own kid at their wedding? That makes zero sense to me. And then to tell you that you're babysitting 4 kids for an entire day, and probably overnight, since they want to party like they're teens. I'm also guessing they want you to babysit for free here? I'd be pissed all around too. And for the final story, we got ourselves a Maidzilla drama titled, Am I the a-hole for thinking my 12-year-old shouldn't be financially responsible to help pay for a bridal shower she is in? My younger brother is getting married next year, and I am a bridesmaid along with my daughter, who is a junior bridesmaid, and my other daughter, who is the flower girl. There are 10 bridesmaids altogether, 2 of them being junior bridesmaids. So all of the adults are in a Facebook text chain, and we're trying to figure out a party and everything, and I'm hoping that you guys can help. Every wedding I've been in or my daughter has been in, the adult bridesmaids paid for the bridal shower. This includes decorations, food, venue, cake, favors, games. Never once have I ever heard of a child or parent of a child being financially responsible for that. I've always seen it where it's split between the adult bridesmaids. Am I wrong for thinking this? Maid of Honor and I just got into a heated debate over this for over an hour. Now, in the beginning of our text exchange, she had told us that none of us are allowed to speak to the bride about anything about the shower or any problems we're having. We can only come to her and her alone. she is now in charge of us. After arguing about this and going back and forth, I decided to leave the group because I did not want to have any more drama from this woman. My daughter is not the only junior bridesmaid. There is one other girl. I don't feel that the two young girls or their parents should have to worry about paying for their share of the party. The cost that the maid of honor is talking about is about $600 per bridesmaid. So that means now I would have to pay $1,200 for a shower. Am I wrong for thinking that the 8 adult bridesmaids should be paying for the shower and not including the kids? Edit. It is also understood that the junior bridesmaids would have to help chip in for the bachelor and bachelorette party as well. They're all going to Atlantic City for the weekend, and the bridal party has to pay for travel costs and staying there in hotels and all the food and booze for the whole weekend. That's the story. There is a little update at the end, but let's read the top comments first. Not the a-hole. How is a bridal shower going to cost $6,000? And then a bachelorette party as well. There needs to be limits put on this now. Even $600 a person is too much. She doesn't see it. The shower is going to cost half of what the wedding would. Put your foot down. Decide how much you are willing to pay, then inform her of this amount. And then that's it. Do not engage in JADE. You do not need to justify that amount to her. You do not need to argue about it with her. You do not need to defend it to her. You do not need to explain it to her. She doesn't need to be convinced because she isn't the decision maker when it comes to your own budget. You are. Tell her that X is the max you'll pay and that's that. End of discussion. In the name of compromise, I would let her decide if you will pay X for the shower and your daughter contributes 0, or if you and your daughter pay X divided by 2 each. In addition, you should inform her of your max budget for every other thing. I would also let her know that the groom is your brother and the bride your sister-in-law, and that you will talk with them as you wish. The relationship you have with them is none of her business, and certainly not hers to control. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. This must be some new way to get money out of the people they didn't want in the bridal party, because the bride obviously knows a 12-year-old isn't going to have a job or money. Thank you for making that input, but as far as I see it, there are 10 bridesmaids, and the parents will have to pay their share of cost. I will not be discussing this any further, and this week, I will be putting out a list of all expenses that will have to be shared. That way, we can save up. I understand how people feel with the financial part of it. I too have a lot coming up this year with the holidays and birthdays. I too know how it feels financially, but it's in the best interest to all of us to split it in 10 ways, then putting financial costs on the other people. That was the last thing she said to me before I left the group. And now for OP's little update. Update. My brother and sister-in-law had no idea this party was being planned so extravagantly. Neither of them want a shower that is going to cost this much. They both said they were going to talk to the maid of honor and tone her back a little. Sister-in-law is actually very angry, as she knows her sister wouldn't be able to afford that either. Thank you all for helping me. I had no idea this was going to blow up so much. And that's the end of today's video, folks. I hope you enjoyed this one. Leave your comments below and don't forget to hit like and subscribe for more videos. I'll catch you in the next one. Stay safe.